Good morning. How we doing? What Twitch chat was wild, or Kick chat? Which chat? What are we talking about? How's everyone doing? I hope all your coffee is strong. I had a rough morning. I need strong coffee. You had a 5 a.m. meeting, you're tired. Oof. Yeah. Rough morning over here for sure. That's why I'm starting a little bit later, about 40 minutes later than I usually do. But it's all right. We can go later today. I have like a no meeting Thursday policy so that I have time to do my newsletter. So we can hang out. Maybe I'll order some lunch at some point and stay on a little later. Your PST. Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. I did that. I used to live PST and work for an East Coast bank. And so banks start early even for the East Coast. So I was up a lot for that gig. It sucked. MST with EST meetings. I am not a morning person, like by genetics. I've kind of turned into somewhat of a morning person. You know, as a parent, you kind of have to get up and make the lunch and get the kid to school no matter what. So better go to bed on time kind of situation. So, all right. Where do we want to start today? I did some reflecting about our Tuesday stream this morning. I realized we covered a hell of a lot of news on Tuesday. I pulled up all the links of stuff we covered because I want to, make sure I capture a bunch of it for my newsletter for Friday morning and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, whoa, we covered a lot. So if you guys all hung out on Tuesday, or if you watched the, I get some people in my DMs that say they can't be here live, but they generally watch the stream, the VOD on YouTube. I've got the N8N story. So we do have some news we could talk about today, and we're going to talk about a few things for sure. But I kind of wanted to maybe not spend the whole stream on going through links and stuff because we covered so much on Tuesday. So I thought maybe we could do, I don't know, we can go over some of the latest AI stuff so it's not just security news today. Or we could do some Q&A if a bunch of people come and hang out. We could do a Pokemon update. The memes coming out of the new Pokemon game. The new Pokemon game, what is it? It's about halfway up the list of total copies sold, and they're only a few weeks out for any non-mainline Pokemon game. So the new, what is it? Pokopia, or however you pronounce it, is killing it. Sorry, I'm still fighting myself awake here just because this morning was crazy. Can all agree it's not about Bloodborne. So if we want to start really quick on the news, and then we can, maybe some more people filter in, and we can do, we could take the stream in a different direction today if we want. But I'd be behest to not mention this one. I made a short about this really early because I actually had some Stryker employees in my DMs on Instagram being like, have you heard anything about a cyber attack on Stryker? Because I cannot do anything today for work. So Stryker's having a pretty bad day. I had never heard of Stryker before, but apparently if you're in medical field, they are a very common name in Fortune 500. But there's a lot of these like healthcare companies that are, maybe a little bit more behind the scenes to us as, consumers. But I have one of my friends is a surgeon, and she was writing me that they touch Stryker stuff every day. So she's going to face quite a disruption as a surgeon. So if you guys hadn't heard about this, if you go watch my short, it's like a minute long summary of what's going on. But Stryker is a med tech company. And we've got these Iranian hacktivists, Handala, I don't know, who is the hacking group that's claiming responsibility for this hack. The reason this one is so interesting to me is exactly what Coyote just said. They not only hacked this company, they wiped everything, systems, servers, whatever, anything that they got access to, they wiped. So we think that this was probably via Intune, which what happened here is this company let people BYOD to work. So if you wanted to use your personal phone at work, they said, sure, but we have to install this MDM, mobile device management software, on that device. They said, but don't worry, we're only going to ever access or control corporate data. If you want to get into your corporate email or whatever it is, that's all we're doing with this software. So don't worry, you can go install it on your personal device. The problem is that is only by policy. That MDM software absolutely gives them the capability to do all sorts of stuff on your personal device. They just by policy do not. So that means when a hacker gets access to the administrative capabilities of Intune, they don't have to follow that policy, right? They can do whatever they want. So we're not totally sure why Stryker was targeted. I guess they do have, maybe they did acquire an Israeli company recently, and obviously there's geopolitical concerns there with with Iran and stuff like this. But yeah, Stryker employees basically started waking up. This happened in the middle of the night, and the employees started waking up and realizing that they couldn't get onto anything. So their managed Windows and then their mobile devices were remotely wiped. So I've had tons of people in my DMs that are like, yeah, I work for Stryker. My personal cell phone got wiped. I can't get into anything. That's wild. The other thing that I'm kind of worried about is, yeah, they wiped it, but did they grab a copy of everything beforehand? Because MDM software can also read, not just wipe, right? Not just write or wipe. So did they grab any like backups or anything like that from employees before they wiped them? Welcome. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you. Employees said colleagues who had personal phones enrolled for work access lost all of their data where their devices were reset. This is kind of nuts, right? Kind of nuts. Like a wipe of this scale. I really hope, I don't know what their business, like, I don't know if they're even back online yet. I don't know if their business continuity, plans had backups away from all of this stuff, especially the personal devices. This is wild. I also don't think, because this is, geopolitically related, having to do with the conflict with Iran, the war, and they're saying that they're retaliating, right? This isn't going to be the last we see. They're working to restore their systems after a global outage. We're experiencing a severe global disruption impacting all laptops and systems that connect to our network. That's insane, man. The root cause is still not identified. So we don't even know initial access yet. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Welcome, Firefly. They're known for stealing sensitive data from victims' compromised systems and publishing it. So I think that they probably did. This group, their MO, I think they probably stole a bunch of this information before they wiped it all. The company has no indication of ransomware and malware. Yeah, it believes the incident is contained. Contained in what? They nuked your whole environment. doesn't have a timeline for everything to be restored. I mean, this seems like a hyper destructive thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like ongoing impact. Bunch of subscribers right now. Thanks, guys. Luke, welcome. So yeah, this one's nuts. There was also like you could float around before the news even broke. I saw some people on Reddit who work there. It's a big enough company, right? Their employees have, tendrils out into social media, or their families do. So it's like my wife had 3 Stryker managed devices wiped at 3:30 in the morning. Their Entra login page was defaced with this Iranian hacktivist group's logo. People in the comments, my phone is completely wiped, locked out of email too. Same, I can't get back into my cell phone plan either. Absolute nightmare. Me too, VPN on personal phone. Now it won't let me log in. I have an iMac and I'm able to text colleagues from there. So they had just another device logged into iMessage is the only way that they're able to talk to people. 4.5 hours ago now, many colleagues' phones have been wiped, instructed to remove Intune, company portal, Teams, VPN, all from personal devices. Personal phones have lost access to my eSIM, unable to log into many things due to 2-factor authentication being wiped. Could you imagine? Have lost all personal data from personal devices that were enrolled and now unable to access emails and Teams too. This is from Australia employees, Ireland employees. Same here from the U.S. Costa Rica sites just got impacted as well. Sounds like an admin got phished. This is like a pretty good guess, right? Pretty good guess. Why not to accept company-managed apps on your personal devices? Do not do it. Admin credentials were compromised. It could be so much worse if they start wiping certain things. By the way, they've already wiped a lot. Even if they stop and the hacking and security gets resolved, we have to fix and redo so many things. It could take us minimum of a month of work, which delays everything. This is nuts to be able to like see the employees reacting to their device, like to being hacked. It's kind of nuts, right? This thread is faster. Yeah, this thread is the fastest news about all this. Sitting here in a break room waiting for my case to start. All our ASR's phones got wiped. A few seniors silent in the chat this morning too. So I assume they got. Wow. I work at Stryker manufacturing. Everyone is at a standstill. Product is not being made. Company losing crazy money right now. Where is everyone? I'm in Ireland, Cork, Stryker Model Farm Road site. Still not letting us go home. Same in Belfast. I'm remote in Ohio. This is like, isn't this so fun to read this thread? To like see employees realize that their company is hacked? While the lines are down, no one can log in. Might as well just head off and work from home. It's a global issue by the looks of things. All sites affected, not isolated to Stryker. Yeah, I also saw, was it Verifone? Got hacked too by the same group, or the same group is claiming it. Many personal devices wiped. If it actually hit Intune managed devices, wiping endpoints plus defacing the Entra login page sounds like they got way deeper than just the surface breach. I mean, I think it's just you pop the right OAuth token, right? Some sort of Hebrew Academy got hit with the same thing. Right in the middle of our release timeline. Comments are getting deleted. I work at Stryker, have work phone, but it seems like nothing has been wiped out. Me too. From what I heard, it only happens if you try to open Outlook and Teams. Interesting. Our phone's actually wiped for good. My girlfriend works for Stryker. We woke up to the same thing and have not been able to get her phone back up and working at all. Any help would be appreciated. A lot of husbands and boyfriends of employees that work at Stryker are on Reddit trying to help, trying to figure out what's going on. Brandon, good call, right? Like the kind of the two keys in a missile launch situation, right? This is kind of nuts. Depending on what they have backed up, you should be able to recover all non-corporate information. You have to log in, etc. However, Intune Wipe brings it to factory settings. It has to be set up as if it was a new phone. I'm a sales rep for Stryker. Couldn't get mine working. You have to follow the factory reset prompts as soon as your phone opens. Delete the management profile. Everyone's eSIM will be wiped. I believe the carrier can fix it. What a nightmare, man. You have to call the carrier. Hey, David, thanks for subscribing. Do I have a video that's like currently getting a ton of views or something? All these subscribers. And I don't think you all are hanging out in chat, are you? Let's see. We're going to pull up stats and see if anything's going wild here. All right. Let's see. Unless you guys are all just lurking in here, I have a feeling that I might be having a video that's getting a lot of views, and then the subscriber alerts are just coming through here. So even before this Reddit thread came out, I actually saw this. I put this on my Twitter. Oh yeah, what is going gangbusters right now? How am I getting all these subscribers? Oh, a short. There's a short on my account that's actually getting a lot of views right now. That's never happened. First time. Oh, I don't care about your lurking. I'm just getting a bunch of subscribers that aren't in the live right now. So I'm like, what's going on? And now I just went and pulled up my stats. One of my shorts. Oh, the short about Claude hacking websites on its own is like currently getting a lot of views. I got more views on that short in the last hour than I probably gotten on the last like 10 of my YouTube shorts combined. So that's where all these subscribers are coming from. Yeah. 300 subscribers in the last day from that short. That'll do it. Sorry guys, I was just like, why are all these alerts popping up and no one's in chat? The Claude bots like to watch videos about themselves. Yeah, that's probably it. So this is the DM. Someone took a screenshot of this text message and put it somewhere. And then this was the screenshot that they DM'd me. What up, Lee? Do the stats on that show if it's organic or for someone big shared it? I get very little information on that. We can pull it up and you can see what I get. I don't really care. I make like $80 from YouTube. It's not like I'm going to show you guys anything crazy sensitive. You want to see it? Let's see. Also, my stats got kind of annoying because I did some like promos and they put ad spend behind it, and so then it like skews it a ton if it's like some sponsorship boosted it, and it's like, oh, you got 100,000 views, and it's like, oh, that was all paid for. Yeah, kind of annoying, but it's part of the biz. So yeah, this is the short, right? The Claude hacked its own hacked websites without permission. You can see it's like I'm like way above my usual on shorts, and then my longs have just been kind of puttering along. I don't know, nothing super great there, but shorts is like, yeah, quite a bit more than usual from my last two shorts. How users find, I think that's what you're talking about. And so 80% from just the scrolling the shorts feeds. That's just pure algorithm signal is like pushing this one out all of a sudden. Other YouTube features, browse shorts. We can see external. 1% of total traffic is from external. Suggested videos, 0.1%. YouTube search is 3%. So it's really just algorithm feed is almost all of it. So if we go to this one specifically, it's like going gangbusters right now. That's why I'm getting all these subscribe alerts. 32 cents, baby. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, you would definitely want the organic from the feed stuff. It's just weird. YouTube shorts are weird, right? Because like, I'll post things that get like 3 million views on Instagram, right? So it's like, okay, that's not just me. Oh, I forgot I'm still like hiding my face. If I post something that's got 3 million views on Instagram, that's telling me I made a good thing, right? That's not like, oh, I think this is a good video. I think I should be doing better, right? I'll get 3 million views on Instagram. So it means people are watching the video. Instagram would not have possibly given me 3 million views if whatever. I'll post it over here. It'll get 200 views. It'll just bomb, right? Like, if we go to shorts, top shorts in the last 28 days. Let's see. I know of a few of these. Where's like a good one that I know did like super well on Instagram? Where's the white supremacist dating site one? It's probably my most viewed video. Oh, this is last 28 days. Let's do last 90 days. If you guys see the white supremacist dating video one, shout. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Got 12,000 views. This got 3 million views on Instagram. Right? 5,000 views here. You know what I mean? Like, just a complete mystery. This one is still getting pumped out. Like, I still get followers, comments, shares. I get like celebrities DMing me about this one on Instagram, and it got, you know, this on its first day, it got like a few thousand, and it's just like puttering along. So like, I know that this is a good video about a good topic, and it, you know, so I don't know, like, YouTube's just kind of a different beast. So that's why, like, okay, this Claude one is popping off, but like popping off here, watch, look at this thing. It's like, boo. Well, I guess this doesn't need to be this zoomed out because I think I just posted it this day. But yeah, if I do since published on this one, you can see the chart. So it's like currently being pushed out pretty heavily. I have no idea why, right? I don't know why this one worked, but the other ones don't. I don't know. You guys asked. What up, Kilobyte? Kilobyte across both chats. You wonder if it's due to the platforms themselves, demographics of people that like your content driving which platform. Yeah, Lee, complete mystery. I'm not like a big, I don't like complaining about the algorithm or just, I like Gary Vee has a saying that says like every time you say the word algorithm, go ahead and say like replace it with the word people. You're like, oh, the algorithm doesn't like my content. It's like, oh, you mean people? People don't like your content, right? It's like the algorithm will reward what people reward, right? So, not a big like, oh, speak about the algorithm type guy, but it is really interesting when I take the same video, cross post it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube Shorts. I put the same short video across all of those. And then sometimes I'll throw them on Twitter and LinkedIn, even though it's just not even the right platform for them. So it's kind of interesting to have the data from across all of those different things. And it's like, you know, why does the same piece of content perform? Maybe the algos are people too. Hell yeah, I remember that show, Reboot. That's like early hacker kid culture, right? Reboot. And they would like push some button, right? This is who you're talking about, right? I remember this. They'd be like, reboot. It was like really weird animation too. It was like very, very strange animation. It's like this fever dream of the 90s where this animation got popular for a hot minute. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, I'm an open book on the content game. If you guys ever want to talk about that, I'm happy to chat. I think one of the things that I haven't quite figured out on the YouTube side of things is the title and thumbnail game, right? I think it's like overly important over here, and I just like, just not a skill that I've curated, or any of the people. Like my editor now is trying to do my thumbnails for me, and he self-admittedly is not a thumbnail guy either. So gargoyles. You know what's funny? I like read somewhere a lot of these shows that we're talking about. I remember gargoyles too. Some of these shows had a surprisingly few, like they stand out in our brain. Yeah, Gargoyles only had like one full season. Isn't that insane? It had like a pilot season of 13 episodes. Then it had a second season of 52 episodes, which is like back then that's what things did. And then it had a third for like 13 seasons to kind of get canceled, and then that was it. But like we all remember this like vividly. Matt Rife claimed that HR had a meeting with TikTok management, specifically turned down stand-up comedy at the algo level. That's kind of wild. There was another cartoon that I remember vividly so much of that we talked about that like stands out a ton in my head that had like a season. And it's like, what? Like we all vividly remember that. Like what? One of them that's shocking. Like a shockingly few amount of episodes, I think was Rugrats. No, Rugrats has a bunch of seasons. That wasn't it. What was it? Oh man. Like something like Rugrats. It was like, oh, whoa. Like that is a cultural zeitgeist cartoon of the 90s to only have like a few seasons. Rugrats has more than I think qualifies for this conversation. Comedy is hated by the powers that be since Sisyphus. I'm a big stand-up comedy fan. Big stand-up comedy fan. All right. Sorry, I pulled this up and then I got distracted. So this text message, Rugrats fan theory, they're all imaginary kids of that one older kid. I like that. I like that. So this was a text that was going around in the middle of the night before the news broke about this Stryker thing, of someone saying like, oh, servers wiped, work apps down, entire company's complete stop, servers at the data center inaccessible, admin accounts sent emails to multiple executives taking ownership. And then this last part here, Stryker acquired Israeli company Orthospace in 2019. They possibly fishing for data to steal. Stryker holds deals with the DoD. They might be trying to get hold of access to other medical partners that may lead to Israeli military medical information. May take days to restore all the systems. I think days is probably a optimistic bet. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's a pretty gnarly wiper situation. Like, we've heard of wipers, but wiper that wiped that much stuff via MDM is kind of nuts. You're a stand-up comedian, not an actor. All right. We have a few other news stories we could talk about, or we can kind of take this stream into AI land if you guys want. I didn't read this one yet, but the headline jumped out at me. 14,000 routers infected by malware that's resistant to takedowns. I was trying to figure out what the resistant to takedowns part was. Also, Dan Gooden is just kind of he's kind of the upper echelon of security journalists, in my opinion. So primarily ASIS devices infected by malware, KadNap. Have you guys heard about this one? Exploiting vulnerabilities that have gone unpatched by the owners. A high concentration of ASIS routers is likely due to botnet operators acquiring reliable exploit for vulnerabilities affecting those models. Yeah, it's not 0 days. These are just old unpatched stuff. It's a sophisticated peer-to-peer design based on KadNap, a network structure that uses distributed hash tables to conceal the IP addresses of command and control servers. The design makes the botnet resistant to detection and takedowns. KadNap botnet stands out among others that support anonymous proxies. Intention is clear, avoid detection. So how? Distributed hash tables used to create hardened peer-to-peer networks like BitTorrent. So are you saying they're using something like torrent to do C2? There are data structures stored on multiple network peers. The design makes the network scalable. The more network nodes, the better the distribution of elements. So how are they doing this with malware? Hashing a chunk of data. Yeah, so it's almost like torrenting their C2. Blockchain-based? It didn't say blockchain. I've heard of blockchain-based malware instructions. That's basically impossible to take down at that point, right? KadNap obtains a key to be searched through a BitTorrent node. You first reach out to some entry, say, hey, I have a secret passphrase. I'm looking for who to give it to. A couple nearby neighbors. And they say, oh, okay, I don't fully understand this passphrase, but it's kind of familiar. So here's some people who might know what that means. Now you go to those neighbors and process continues. Eventually you reach someone who says, yep, this is my passphrase. Welcome in. So we reach this person. They say, here's a file to firewall port 22. And then here's a second file containing a C2 address you want to connect to. Despite resistance to normal takedown methods, Black Lotus says it has devised a means to block all network traffic to or from the control infrastructure. They're distributing indicators of compromise. Infected devices are being used to carry traffic for Doppelganger, which we've talked about on stream a ton, right? Fee-based proxy service that tunnels customers' traffic through the internet connections of residential unsuspecting people. We've talked about this. Kimmy Wolf is another one that uses like residential proxy stuff. With high bandwidth and IP addresses of clean reputations, the service provides customers with a reliable way to effectively anonymously visit sites. All right. That's interesting. I didn't really, 14,000 routers, not a huge number. Routers are always infected, but I was kind of interested by this resistant to takedown thing. And it is interesting, this like torrent-like system. Microsoft put out some research today about this contagious interview stuff. We've talked about this a lot, right? North Korea is cooking both sides of the job market. They're getting hired, but then they're also putting up fake interviews to infect developers. So they usually just put out threat intel here. I'm guessing. I haven't gone through this yet, so I'm guessing it's going to be just some details about that they've uncovered from customers of theirs that are, falling for this fake interview thing. Let me zoom in on this. It's hard for me to read. It's probably harder. Gosh. Well, it's only fitting that Microsoft's blog acts like Microsoft Word, where if you zoom in one too many, the whole thing moves. What's up, Grep? Nightcry? How's everyone doing? Dude, my watch said I got a perfect sleep score last night, 100, and I am still dragging. I don't know what's going on. I didn't eat breakfast. Maybe I got to eat breakfast. I actually kind of ate a small dinner, too. That's probably what it is. Small Biz, how's it going? Everyone's showing up today. Found out yesterday, Stryker. Oh, yeah, Kilobyte. We were just talking about that for the last 20 minutes of stream. You zoned out. We were talking about Stryker. The most fun part about this is that a ton of Stryker employees are on Reddit just talking about how their personal devices got locked out. Eat some breakfast, drink some water. Thanks for looking out for me, chat. I might take a break and go grab like a banana and water. You were working with IT at the moment. Yeah, I'm just giving you crap about zoning out. But yeah, check this Reddit thread. I'll put it in chat. This Reddit thread is kind of fun to watch employees realize that them or their spouses' devices got wiped. All right, so this contagious interview thing, we've been talking about it a while. It keeps getting worse, and it's still going on. So I've got a few videos, long videos on my channel about North Korea and the job market. This is why you don't have personal devices on MDM. Yep. They say that they only access corporate data on your personal devices, but that's just a policy. So the hackers could use the MDM stuff to get in for sure. So we got attackers posing as recruiters for a legitimate crypto trading company, contacting you probably via LinkedIn mostly, but then other networks. Victims are instructed to run code from a repository or install an NPM package as part of the test interview. These repos or NPM packages have malware in them. It triggers a click fix style command execution. They clone a repository and open it in the IDE, triggering a package to find. Oh, these are the kind of the three different methods they're seeing them, to get access. Then they get Otter cookie on their device, which is a backdoor. Flexible ferret, also a backdoor. And then they steal a bunch of your cookies and creds and secrets. And since they're a crypto trading company, they're generally interviewing people that have crypto wallets on their machine that they're interviewing from, and then that's what goes down. Hacker crap! I can't hack his phone. It's against policy. Exactly. You have work stuff in Samsung secure folder. It's supposed to be a separate environment, but you don't know. It's just the MDM stuff. So if you give them a managed device like profile on your device, they can do a lot more than, touch your work stuff, right? As we saw here, they just rewrote the operating system for all the people's mobile devices. All right, so here's one of the malicious repos. So this was a Bitbucket next generation crypto poker platform. So you could see like this kind of looks like a thing that would come up in a job interview. It's like, a fake scenario, nothing like, nothing like suspicious or nothing even related to work. It's just very whatever. And then it's hosted on Bitbucket, posing as a blockchain powered game. You guys have taken these interviews, right? Where it's like, let's put something up super benign and then have the person work on something, a bug or a feature during the interview. And then you pull up this repo, you clone this repo into your IDE and it actually runs malware. Otter Cookie is one of the main ones. They have some other backdoors that they use. And then they go around finding sensitive data on Windows systems through a beaconing agent script was launched. We enumerate credentials and key store material. Environment variables, which allows them to kind of move around via API key stuff that they can find in environment variables, passwords and KeyPass or OnePass artifacts, blah, 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 blah. Just malware things at this point. And it does a bunch of nasty shit. They can spy on your clipboard. They grab your passwords, cookies, all sorts of stuff. Follow-up payloads. Invisible Ferret is another thing that they get on after Otter Cookie sometimes. And everyone has a bad day. Security implications. What do you mean security implications? The whole article is security implications. Harvest API tokens, cloud creds, signing keys, crypto wallets. This is the big one, right, that they're after. And password managers. Good threat intel. Whoops. There we go. What else we got? So back to the Iran stuff. So obviously Stryker is their big one, but I think Verifone also they claimed to hit, and I think that we're going to just see a whole lot more before any of this gets any better, right? They deliberately targeted data centers with missiles. They presented a list of their new targets: 5 Amazon facilities, 5 Microsoft, 6 IBM, 3 Palantir, 4 Google, 3 NVIDIA, and 3 Oracle buildings are on their target lists. So they're going after big tech specifically. State media telegram messages threatening Amazon and others. Enemies technology infrastructure. As the regional conflict expands into infrastructure warfare, Iran's legitimate targets are gradually expanding. Vowing to target a mix of research and development facilities. What is it? So it's Google's regional Dubai office and its Qatar office for cloud support services, NVIDIA's main and largest R&D center, IBM's AI research and threat response, Palantir's strategic collaboration center in Abu Dhabi, and regional offices in Tel Aviv, Oracle's regional cloud service office in Jerusalem, and its main office in Abu Dhabi, Amazon's office in Tel Aviv. This is wild, right? To have like these sorts of big tech offices and sites being named as targets. Conducted aerial attacks against 3 AWS data centers in the Middle East already. And yeah, I would take this super seriously if I was any of these sites, because they're already showing that they're ready to do it. Rapid7 Threat Intel has some stuff about their cyber playbook that's probably worth reading. I know a lot of my IR people already had a ton of intel on the Iranian like hacker groups. So they already knew them, kind of knew their names, knew their MOs, things like that. So I would listen to them on a lot of this stuff. These APT groups. 35, Charming Kitten. 42 is the one I would know, right? Cotton Sandworm. If they're pro-Palestinian, Microsoft makes sense. Didn't they let IDF host Where's Daddy on Azure? I don't know. This is just kind of like an overview of things linked to these known groups. Again, probably just worth passing around. Threat models have updated this week, right? So if you work in this space, I'm going to put this in chat too. This is worth like passing around to leadership and just being like, yo, things have changed. Is this a threat we need to be considered? All right. And then someone mentioned this earlier, some N8N vulnerabilities. So I feel like I've covered N8N vulnerabilities at least once or twice a month. It seems like a pretty ripe piece of software that people are targeting to find vulnerabilities in. And it makes sense, right? Like, if you guys don't know what N8N is, should we pull it up? It's kind of like if you're familiar with Zapier, it's kind of like an open source AI powered or AI first, because I know Zapier also does a bunch of AI stuff. But this is like an open source one where you can kind of do a lot of these automated workflows where it's like, here, do this kind of stuff, right? No code, drag tiles onto a flow chart. And it's like if you guys remember that old website, if this, then that, IFTTT, like it was, it's kind of like that. So it's like, oh, when something happens, some trigger you set up, do a whole bunch of stuff. And N8N is kind of the open source AI one to come out of that movement. So, when you get a chat message, this is them basically doing OpenClaw type stuff. So when a chat message is received somewhere, you're going to like do some configuration in this tile, run a bunch of stuff, right? So we're going to do some OpenAI things. We can access maybe a long-term memory for this AI chat, the search engine result page API, call another N8N workflow tool, and then if true, success message into Slack, fail, this kind of stuff. So I go through this this is just an example. You can do a lot of different things here. The reason why this is juicy is this line right here, right? You got all these integrations. So what all these integrations mean is that you are loading your API keys for all of these services into N8N. So you're basically giving permission to this server in N8N to what? Read, write into your databases, send or read email on your behalf, talk through your Telegram accounts, access your calendar. I mean, this is what people are plugging in. Your HubSpot. Okay, so when there's a new sales lead in HubSpot, you're gonna, do a bunch of triggers in Google. So just by the nature of being able to use this tool, you're loading it with sensitive API keys, right? Let's see. Do they have popular? Oh, we are sorting by popularity, right? So like right up top, I mean, if this is most people are using, the AI API keys into Google and Slack and Telegram, Airtable, G Drive, run some other webhook, Notion, Soup, and then all of a sudden your databases start popping up and sending emails start popping up in this popularity, right? So just by sorting by popularity, you can kind of get a vibe for what people are using N8N for, right? It's wildly popular. See we have almost 200,000 stars on GitHub. Active project. And then, so I talk about vulnerabilities a lot on this. The reason I don't want to talk about every single one. The reason I'm bringing it up today is because I saw the headline is basically CISA is coming out saying that they have active, it's a known active exploitation going on against these vulnerabilities. So you can imagine if you get, a critical vuln in 88N. What is it? These are 2 crits in 88N exploited for unauthenticated remote code execution and sandbox escape. So you can see all credentials stored in 88N's database. So all those API keys are exposed by these vulns in this popular project. The problem here is also, it's not like you can just remove access to N8N from the internet. I mean, I guess you can, right? You can get pretty strict firewall rules, but a lot of people, the way that it's set up is like, hey, I want to do webhooks. I want to plug into all these websites on the internet. So I can't have super strict firewall rules. You can tighten them, right? But a lot of people aren't going to. So really what's going on here is all of a sudden you have a very valuable credential database filled with API keys that by nature is going to have internet access to be able to talk to all those APIs. And then it's a open source project, not with a giant corporate maintainer. So it's going to wind up having a ton of vulnerabilities. So the flaw allowed for malicious payload to bypass sandbox protection, executed. The vulnerable node operates at the compilation stage before the runtime sanitizers. This is patched, but wait a second. So I'm reading about the vuln. I thought I pulled it up. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. I don't know why it's not mentioned in that article, but we got CISA coming out and saying, hey, this bug is being exploited in the wild. So we urged all federal and civilian agencies to patch this vulnerability at once because it carries a near perfect. Is that a different vuln? 68613 versus. It's not that one. Or that one. Oh, these are different vulns. So here you go. That's why it's not mentioned in this. This is from this Pillar Security research thing, also today. 0-click unauthenticated RCE on N8N. And then I have this other one. I thought that this was all the same vuln. This is also coming out today. And it's a completely different vuln. It's a completely different CVE. Anyone run N8N source through Claude yet? I'm sure a ton of people are, right? But it's a pretty active project. This vulnerability affects N8N and expression. The N8N advisory states, let's see, GitHub Security Advisory, which we were also talking about. There's a gap between these GitHub Security Advisories and CVEs we were talking about last week. This is back in December, this one. Expressions supplied by authenticated users during workflow configuration may be evaluated in execution context that's not sufficiently isolated. Successful exploitation may lead to full compromise of the affected instance, including unauthorized access to sensitive data, modification of workflows, and execution of system-level ops. Yeah, you're completely owned. So this stands alone as the known known exploited vulnerability update of this week. So they're coming out and saying, this is it. We're seeing exploitation against this right now. It's kind of wild. So that's why I wanted to bring up that vuln. And then I brought that vuln up, but it's not even the vuln that's being actively exploited. So guys, if you're out there using N8N, please put some guardrails around that sucker. Hold on. One second. One of my guys, for some reason, is having an issue. Admin. Advanced two-step. All right. I don't know what's going on. One of my guys, I can't get into his email. Start your own company, they said. It'll be fun, they said. You'll have to be the IT guy also sometimes. I don't know what's going on with this. He's getting like, he's hitting some error that he can't get into his account because of. I'm like, all right, let's try to turn off 2FA for a second and see if that lets you in. All right, I think those were the main stories that I had for today. The Stryker one was kind of the main one, right? I figured we can chat AI stuff. We didn't do a dedicated AI stream. Google's bug bounty data came out. That's actually always fun to read. Let's read that. Let's read that really quick. So this is Google's bug bounty program year in review. Just came out. This is always fun to read. Special year in the history of vulnerability reward bug bounty programs at Google. 15th anniversary. Oh, Jesus Christ. I remember when they started. Oh, no. I think, what's 15 years ago? Yeah, I lived in California when they started, and I remember going to their campus and having lunch with their security team with a bunch of bug hunters. I didn't realize it was like, I probably realized at the time, but you know, bug bounty programs were so rare that I kind of forgot that I was there for the launch of it. So coming back to 2025, our VRP once again confirmed the ongoing value of engaging with the external security community. This was more evident than ever as we awarded over $17 million, all-time high, more than 40% increase over 2024. Whoa. What do we think? Why? Are they going to say AI? Are they going to say bug bounty hunters are using AI, so we saw a 40% jump? Jeez. The number of paid researchers also went up a pretty significant amount. So from 2024 to 2025, we had nearly 100 different people paid out. Whoa. And a huge increase in number. Since 2010, $81 million they've paid for vulnerabilities. Does the leaderboard go back to all time? Is this all time? It is all time. All right, let's see. I'm not there. Why am I not there? I've been paid out. I definitely got bug bounties from Google. Why am I not there? Members since, yeah. That's so funny. Why am I not there? I have no idea. All time. I think it was Chrome. I don't know why I'm not on the list. Did I use an old nickname? You think it's just Matt J or something? Nah. Matt Austin, that's funny. There's only one Matt on the entire Google leaderboard? No. I don't know why. I got paid out. It was probably 2010. So it's probably the first. Maybe it was before this leaderboard. No, it was 2011. I think it was 2011. All time, all programs. Is Kaz here? Kyle Osborne and I got paid at the same time. No. Justin Brown. This is erasing of history. I promise I've gotten paid. Wait, am I an honorable mention? No. These are bug hunters. Nah, I don't know. Is it like, do you have to be so exact? Matt Dot Johansson or something? Did I do something weird like that? Honorable mention, Matt. There's only 4 Matts on the entire thing. It seems so wild. All right. I need answers. Am I just too old? I think I got $1,337 from Google for at least one bug. I feel like I got paid more than once too from them. Anyway, sorry, vanity side project. Distracted by my need for validation. All right. So what are they going to say was the meat? Yeah, they used to. I don't know if they still do, but they paid Leet. Leet was one of their lower payments. So that's what I got. I got Leet. The newly dedicated AI VRP was launched, previously organized as part of Abuse VRP. Chrome VRP now also includes reward categories and problems found in AI features in Chrome. Why? What was the big jump? Android was almost $3 million. The crown jewel of 2025 was a report by Love Pink, a critical firmware breakthrough. This finding was a masterclass in research, bypassing multiple defense-in-depth layers to compromise the kernel from the GPU. A reminder that as we harden the OS, the battleground shifts deeper into the silicon. Yo, this feels AI written. AI does this. A reminder that as we do this, then this happens. This is something that AI says a lot. Need for validation, 40-something punk band. Hell yeah. What's up, Zomboy? This is cool that they called this out. Ask Leah Rova named most valuable hacker for her dominance in the pixel track. Our 2025 champion securing both the highest total reward amount and tying for the highest number of valid reports. That's wild. Chrome was 3.7. So Android was almost 3. Chrome was 3.7 from 100 different reports. Chrome researchers dug into the V8 sandbox, finding several holes and providing new classes of escape. Pivoting to memory safety issues. In summary, Chrome's top 20 researchers worked across all facets of Chrome, from memory safety and fuzzing to user interface. Finally, Chrome is leading the way by making Gemini available. Cloud, Google Cloud, 3.5 in rewards to 143 researchers. Kind of wild that it all kind of coalescing, each program coalescing around the 3 million number or close, you know. 1,700 reports got 143 valids. Since the AI VRP, 350,000 rewards or 890K. Abuse VRP saw a 65% year-over-year increase to 482. Open source programs was 327. Wait, math is not mathing up to 17 million, right? Unless these are not all programs. But Android at 2.9 to Chrome at 3.7 to Cloud at 3.5, and then a couple 100,000s down here does not equal 17, right? So they're missing something. Maybe these are just highlights. Across all of our programs. What programs did they not just call out just now then? They called out all of them. Interesting. Interesting. Any bug hunters in chat? Were you part of that 17 million? All right, what do we want to chat about? I don't have a ton of AI stuff like lined up specifically. You're a mobile app developer planning on changing my field to cybersecurity. Is that a good move? I mean, do you like doing cybersecurity? Then it's a good move. But yeah, cybersecurity is a great career path. You're asking someone who's like dedicated his life to cybersecurity, so I'm a bit biased. You're on the other end. You're on the payout from Google end. Well, what's up? Welcome. Like I said, I used to go hang out at your cafeteria with a bunch of bug hunters. What else we got? 1 petabyte data theft? That's a big number. TELUS Digital confirms breach after hacker claims 1 petabyte data theft. Oh, not Google. Okay. Yeah, I used to run the bug bounty program at Reddit. Well, my team did, so. One petabyte is pretty crazy. AI slop is crushing our bug bounty. Oh yeah, you're not the only one. Did you see this? Boom. Curl, a like major pillar of the internet, literally stopped their bug bounty program because they could not handle the AI slop from it. So this guy Daniel, he would publish all the like the AI slop that he would get, and it just kept like it just got so bad. We saw an explosion in the AI slop reports combined with lower quality even in the reports that were not obvious slop, presumably because they were too actually misled by AI, but with the fact that just hidden better. Yeah, death by 1,000 slops back in July. We definitely covered this story back then too. It's not super obvious to me exactly how HackerOne should change to help us combat this. It is, however, clear that we need them to do something. Offer us more tools and knobs to tweak to save us from drowning. Yeah. This is like the whole point of running your bug bounty program through one of these bug bounty companies is that they do the triage, right? On HackerOne, the users get reputation lowered when we close reports as not applicable. This is only really a mild threat to experienced HackerOne participants. For new users on the platform, that's mostly pointless exercise as they can just create a new account next week. Banning those users is similarly a rather toothless threat. Too many of them, even if one goes away, 3,000 more. Hey, Expat, no worries. Thanks for saying hi. You've been following them ranting. Yeah. I've collected a list of a number of reports submitted to curl that help showcase. Here's a snapshot from today. Welcome. Thanks for subscribing. Here's a list from today. He's got 21. Is this just in one day? Let's see. HackerOne report on October 10th. Let's go down. No. So this isn't one day, but just like, here's a snapshot of that list. Let's see. Buffer overflow is pretty crazy. Let's pick a really serious sounding one on here. Use after free. And then Daniel had to go read all these and then try to validate them, and they were like bad. Like, so he would just spin his wheels. So a lot of this stuff was even made up code. So like these people would run this stuff against code. It would hallucinate, made up functions, made up code, and they wouldn't know enough to even pull that out. And they would just submit this in. Pretty low friction for them, right? Just run some stuff, get some output from AI, and just throw it into a bug bounty report and hope that you get something out of it, right? Deathhawk, you said, we're trying to fight fire with fire. If you send us AI slop, it's going to get our AI slop checker, which is probably about as reliable. Eventually, the hope is we stop receiving the slop. Yeah. Your proof of concept program doesn't use libcurl at all. Are you reporting a problem in libcurl or OpenSSL? Did you forget to include a curl example? We cannot consider the submission valid, not a curl security issue. How did you quote unquote find this? I presume AI was involved. The callback may be invoked after the associated SSL object has been freed via SSL free. A 2-second look at the callback code in curl shows that we don't access the associated SSL object in the callback at all. So how is this a problem again? There's exactly 0 uses of SSL get X data in libcurl code. Per project policy for transparency, we want all report disclosed made public. Got it. Thanks for the clarification. You're right. M dash. This doesn't impact libcurl directly. I appreciate the review and the transparency. Awful. Awful. Is this person still submitting stuff, or are they banned? That's it. That's their only report ever. 30 upvotes? I don't know. Is this a banned account? I don't know how I can tell. Let's look at some of these. These are fun to look through. Here's a buffer overflow in WebSocket handling from 2023. Do you remember how bad AI was in 2023? Hello, security team. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for your report. We'll take the time to investigate. Can you elaborate why the length check on line 579 is not enough and how the length can end up being longer than the key valve buffer? Certainly. Let me elaborate on the concerns raised by the triager. Literally pasted into 2023 ChatGPT and then spit out. What's up, Jay? Daniel being so nice, right? Like, am I wrong? Tell me. Can I help? I appreciate your engagement and would like to clarify the situation. Wow, we've come a long way since 2023, haven't we? However, the potential vulnerability arises from the subsequent uses of string copy on line 581. Why do you address H1 analyst Oscar? The concern is that RAN string length might be miscalculated, manipulated, or exceeded the buffer size due to external factors. So this is a concern that at some point in the future, this might turn into a problem. I'm asking how exactly today and right now this code and function can perform a buffer overflow, as you stated in the original submission. I appreciate the follow-up question. Let's go into detail. The concern raised in the original submission stems from the potential inconsistency between the length check and subsequent string copy. The code in question. Nope. The code you talk about now is not present in the current Git master. It looks like an edit done by you. Seems odd to complain about code you wrote yourself. The actual code looks like this. Unless you point out an actual issue, I'll close this issue. Thank you for your prompt response. After the feedback, I understand the confusion regarding the reported code snippet. I want to clarify and provide practical examples to demonstrate the potential security vulnerability. Just mumbo jumbo coming back, inventing problems that don't exist in code. Let's see. Did hackers ever do anything else? Nope. They are banned. They're gone. That was in WebSocket handling. This is in string copy. Is this the same one? Nope. This is November 2024, about a year later. This vulnerability report is almost completely generic and there's nothing indicating that there's anything wrong in curl. Please include detailed reproduction steps. Once again, these instructions are completely generic. In step 2, you say the program does not validate the size of the input before copying it. If that's the case, on what line number? Alternatively, expand trigger the vulnerability function. Oh, man. Just back and forth, back and forth. You must identify either the exact location of the source code with the problem or provide an exact step-by-step. Failing to do that, there's no security program. Bill shows up at 11 o'clock and is like, yo, start over. Start stream over. I'm here now. Oh, man. This AI slop is crazy in bug bounty land. Not banned, but that's their only report ever. 45 upvotes. So their bots are upvoting their own reports, huh? Bill, what did we talk about? I'll DM you. We talked about Google's vulnerability review program. We're going to DM Bill. N8N stuff, which were 2 vulnerabilities, not even the same vulnerability. But we have, well, actually 3 separate N8N vulnerabilities. Then we talked about Stryker, of course. Then we talked about these routers being owned. What's up? Thanks for subscribing. Welcome. Then we talked about Iran planning more threats on more locations. And Iran's playbook. So just like a bunch of Iran stuff. All right, I think that's it. And now we're just talking bug bounty slop. There you go, Bill. You're all caught up. What's up, S. Robertson? How about a recap? Stryker is mean. What's up, Jesse Messi? Thanks for subscribing. I could talk about the Stryker stuff again if you guys are back. If you guys are in chat, I don't mind rehashing it. We could talk about it now. I think it's interesting enough for those of you who were in here earlier. So the gnarly part about this one, right? So like a private company being caught up in like a war, literal war retaliation against a private company via cyber attack, right? Crazy thing number 1. Crazy thing number 2, no ransomware, no espionage. Well, maybe some espionage that we don't know about yet. No financial motive. This is just straight attack. And then they had Intune on all of their devices, including BYOD devices. So personal employees' devices that were used to get on the corporate network via Intune, like mobile device management software that like lets you do stuff. If you had your corporate MDM installed on your personal device, that device was wiped as well. So we actually had this Reddit thread that was like, we were reading through this morning, and it was employees or spouses of employees, phones being wiped, including their eSIMs. So they couldn't even, like, their phone just like wasn't even connected to their own phone number. Globally, Ireland, US, Costa Rica, I think this is Australia. So this is why this one's nuts. It's like, if you basically, people are like, if you want to access corporate email on a mobile device, you get that company to buy you a phone. You do not put this on your own personal devices, because this whole like wipe your personal device thing. Because when the company says, "Oh, we're going to put MDM on your personal device so you can use this, but we're not going to look at any of your personal information. We're only going to look at corporate information," that's by policy, not by technical capability, right? So that they have the technical capability to impact your personal device with that MDM profile. So the hackers got control over it and they were toast. I mean, and this just kind of feeds into Iran then listed a bunch of other private tech company offices that were on their target list. Between Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, NVIDIA, Google, Palantir, and IBM. We have a bunch more targets coming out here too. So this is kind of unique, right? That like you have massive private sector things being targeted from an actual war going on. Yeah, we haven't seen anything on initial access at all yet. So they just come out. They're still investigating. At this time, root cause has not been identified, right? So pretty decent chance that we're talking phish to admin of, one of their Microsoft Intune or Entra type accounts. Though Iran threat actors do use malware. So they could have gotten malware on one of these devices for one of these admins, right? Intune from inside Azure means they had total control. Yep. Total control. Total control. For sure. What's up, Galaxy Tab? Welcome back. So the fact that we have private companies being explicitly targeted as part of a war, as well as the just absolute evisceration wipe of the Stryker team is just kind of insane. Talk about missing segmentation. Yeah. So like network segmentation is one thing, right? But like, this is why the current when I say that you should stop everything you're doing and focus on phishing until phishing is solved, or your whole like single sign-on to SaaS app thing, until you have solved that pivot point and phishing as the entry point, you should literally be doing nothing else as a security team. Like I'm not kidding, right? Galaxy Tab, maybe I'll bring it up later. We're in the middle of stuff. We're encouraged to download work apps for our phone. Didn't think that they can wipe the phone. So if you just download Slack or something like that on your phone, they can't. It's the MDM profile, right? So let's pull it up so you guys can see what I'm talking about if you're unaware. Is this a good page? I was hoping for screenshots. But like, specifically on Apple, they've got these like managed profile thing that this is what I'm talking about, right? So like you can enroll your device in some sort of managed profile with your company. And at that point, the company can control certain things about the device. You can deliver a configuration profile that can change settings for an entire device, right? So this is the thing that we're talking about. So generally when companies do this, it's just so that they can enforce access to like corporate email. And then the other major benefit for a company in doing this is if that employee quits or is fired, they can remotely lock them out of all corporate comm stuff on the mobile device. Right? So you have Outlook and Teams, but do they just let you log into Outlook and Teams from your mobile device, or do they force you to do this MDM profile in order to access Outlook and Teams? You see the difference? If you just log into Outlook and Teams, like as apps, just with like username and password into like SSO on your device, they can't, this threat doesn't exist, if that makes sense, right? But if you do this whole, so SSO, if you're just logging into your work apps on your mobile device and that's like fine by corporate policy, they can't wipe your device, okay? That's just that account. That's just that the iOS is sandboxed about that whole thing, right? The thing where this got spicy, and a lot of companies do this, is, well, a lot of companies that do the MDM thing will buy the device. So it's like, here's your corporate phone. We're going to manage this so that if you ever leave and you don't mail the phone back, we can kill your access on day one. If you're fired before you even are in the meeting to get fired, your access is or like while you're in the meeting getting fired, your access is probably getting cut, right? I've been on this side of things where you got to kind of run the person getting fired or layoffs are happening playbook. The IT team usually finds out second, right? It's like executives in HR, and then it's like accounting and IT find out, right? It's like, okay, we're about to term a bunch of people. So these mobile management profiles on the mobile devices are to cut access or wipe corporate information off of those remote devices. If you're doing it from your personal device, still some companies will have the policy that says, you can use your personal device, but you have to install this managed profile on it so that we can get onto, so that you can get onto corporate data. Twilight, welcome. Again, guys, I think we're getting a bunch of subscribe notifications for subscriptions that are happening from people not hanging out in live. we don't have too many people in here, but I'm getting a ton of subscribers. So I think it's because my short is still getting a lot of views. We can go see. Yeah, still a straight up line. So you have a few MDM clients. It's pitched as a safe edge BYOD solution. It's your pitch. Subscribers still no exceed 50,000. Yeah, I know. Slow growth on YouTube for me. I've been kind of striking out on my long videos for some reason, but I'm having a short video go get a lot of attention right now. So that's helping. MDM is trying to solve a problem that I don't know is solvable. Secure device from its owner who has physical access and root privs before you and after you install your solution. Yeah, so it's still a good solution, right? The problem just becomes when here it is, right? Like, a hacker gets Intune admin access and then they can go gangbusters on the whole thing, right? Low level has 1 million. Yeah. John Hammond has like 2.5 million. Network Chuck has like 4. I'm still sitting at the kids' table over here, everybody, but it's okay. We're doing the damn thing. It's still fun. In my head, I gave myself 5 years. I'm going to do 5 years of consistent YouTube. And if it doesn't, like, if it still doesn't bring me joy and isn't like working after 5 years, I'll kind of reevaluate. But that's just to, so you guys know, I'm thinking on much longer term horizon. I'm not doing content expecting to go viral, right? I'm just like a dude sitting in my office who has a ton of cybersecurity experience. So I'm kind of like, come hang out or don't. Like, I'm a guy that has done this a lot. We can chat about it. I'm not about to start doing like Mr. Beast videos. I locked 100 hackers in a room, and if they can hack Google Chrome, I'll let them out. That's a good video. Should I do that video? Middle of the day, shorts, long or night, morning. I'm building a genuine base. Exactly. When's your invite to Primogen stand-up? Primogen is one of my favorite content creators. I really like Primogen's channel a ton. I think he's a little anti-AI, which brings balance to my feed because a lot of my feed is AI stuff because I use it a lot. He's pretty on the anti side of things still, so it brings balance. When am I invited? Like I said, I'm still at the kids table for all the big YouTubers, so AI hallucinations are definitely a thing. You know what I thought would be a fun video is like if me and a bunch of bug hunters tried to, or even just me, maybe and I like interview some bug hunters for help. But if we go, there's some of these bug bounties that, let's pull some up. Let's pull some up. So Apple has a bounty. Okay, I kind of have like a theory about this, right? This used to be 1 million, now it's 2 million from Apple security team, right? For a specific type of bug. For exploit chains similar to those used in real-world attacks with bonuses, potential maximum rewards of over $5 million, right? So these are your spyware level, like remote attacks, wireless proximity, physical device access, sandbox access. So this is your stuff that Pegasus uses type things, right? So if you can do network attacks with no user interaction and you get kernel access, you can get $2 million. Wouldn't it be a fun YouTube series to see if we could use Claude to get this bounty? Even if we don't succeed, which I don't think we would, right? I think that'd be fun content especially because I'm not a kernel level bug bounty hunter, right? I've found a bunch of web vulns in my day. I used to be a web hacker for years. I've found thousands of cross-site scripting vulnerabilities over my life. I got really good at cross-site scripting for a while there. But I thought it'd be fun. Like, okay, like give ourselves like a month or give ourselves however long and just document the whole process of like quest to use AI to get a $2 million bounty, right? No user interaction, 2 million. With user interaction is still $1 million. The interesting part here is I actually I don't know enough about the iOS kernel. Like, so I would be really, really, really leveraging AI here. So it'd be a really interesting experiment to see if a guy who knows enough about security, but not necessarily enough about like iOS kernel level development, I think that would make good content. Even if you don't succeed, interesting to see the thought process in action. I agree, right? All right. Maybe I'll do that. That'll be fun. Should we lay the framework here? You want to do the research together of what this would take to even start? I'm going to talk to some of my bug hunter friends. Do they have examples? View examples. Examples of iOS exploit chains bug bounties. Literally, here's someone got it. So my hot take was going to be that I thought that Apple really had no intention of ever paying out those bounties, right? It's more of a marketing thing. But here we go. These are hackers making $5 million for a single vulnerability report, one bug. Apple's research device program, most sophisticated, highest paying, least understood bug bounty program. Is this going to be AI slop? I don't know what Bugatrix is. How do I get one? Zero-click kernel payout. Yep. Zero-click kernel execution for all these. 25% payout bonuses for vulnerabilities found exclusively on security research devices, and additional bonuses for finding bugs in beta software before public release. Interesting. A zero-click iMessage exploit used by Pegasus. That's what I'm saying. This vulnerability allowed full compromise of iPhone simply by sending an iMessage. For comparison, a zero-click iOS exploit on the gray market can fetch $10 to $35 million. Comes without legal risk, prison time, or the moral weight of enabling state surveillance. This would be interesting. I think this is going to be not actually a good guide. It's just kind of an AI generated what the bug bounty stuff is. All right. Let's see. We're gonna do something fun. Let me get, I don't think I have it on my machine. Yeah, I don't yet. We're gonna do it live. Did someone say that? Someone said that emoji. Let's do it. Dead overflow. So that's a push to iOS app that compromised the device. Yeah. So Jay, actually not even just a push, because if the exploit works the way it's supposed to, the user would never even get notified, because you immediately, at the time that the text message hits the device, you have kernel access. So you do not let the user know that that just all happened. So you could actually completely remove your tracks from the device too. We're gonna lay the foundation for this today, everybody, because I think it's a good idea. I might grab that water and a banana or something before we start. But I think this is going to be fun. That's 2 mil for sure. Yeah. So like they said, on the gray market, it's like 10 to 35 mil, right? Because the spyware vendors want to use it before Apple can patch it, right? All right. No, I actually meant. All right. The other thing I've been using is Whisper Flow. Have you guys you seen Whisper Flow? Is there a video you recommend that explains Pegasus in depth? No, but should we find one? You guys can tell I didn't have 4 hours worth of content off the dome to go with today, right? We covered so much news on Tuesday. Wait a second. How funny that we were about to do this, and this is the first video on my homepage. Look at the first video on my homepage. Our friend Low Level. The thumbnail is literally AI finds a 0 day. Oh yeah, we were going to talk about this. I put this in the newsletter, or we talked about this on Tuesday, and it's already queued up for my newsletter. 22 vulnerabilities found by Anthropic in Firefox, straight up. And so that's what Low Level was just talking about. What's up? Look, don't touch if you're in here. That's funny. That's what we were about to do. All right. Note to self, don't put reminder in Matt J articles. Why? What happened? What happened, Bill? Did we publish something that had like a reminder to change something in it and it's live? Reminder, do something, and I just let it go. Sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, what was I about to do? Okay. Oh yeah, so Whisper Flow. So Whisper Flow is a really cool tool that is really, really good at dictation. Do I not even have it on this computer? I must have uninstalled it. Latest OpenSSL patch with the result of AI assisted reports as well. Yeah, one of my homies here in Austin said that Opus found OpenSSL vulns for him and that he was in the disclosure process. So maybe that's part of it. All right. I'd like to start a YouTube series about achieving the highest bug bounty rewards out there. Looks like Apple, 2 mil, or Google, 1 mil bounties are the top of the food chain. I'm a skilled bug hunter in web, but not kernel level. I need help from expert level bug hunting methodologies. Let's seek out the closest to real world exploit data on bug bounty platforms like HackerOne and BugCrowd that can inform us on how to hunt for these top level bugs. Then we'll need to spend some time running agents to find the bugs. After we define the right attack surface to use and the methodology to hunt for each level of the exploit needed to achieve the top rewards on these programs. Super long prompt. We're doing it live. All right, I'm going to let that run for a second. I'm going to go get, I'm going to leave you guys with Low Level talking about something we talked about already, so you guys can watch this. I'll react to it, but we talked about this already. And I'm going to go get a drink and a snack really quick. And then we're going to come back to that AI prompt. Yeah, Whisper Flow is awesome, guys. Whisper Flow. Dan Miesler is like one of their top users. The CEO like messages Dan personally because he's like got millions of words spoken. Dan just like sits at home speaking to his computer. He doesn't type anymore. It's nuts. All right, here you go.
Is going to get very weird in the next few years as AI advancements in its ability to find and exploit vulnerabilities in software is getting better and better. The topic of this video is a vulnerability that Claude found in Firefox and kind of what that means for the software community writ large, right? This all stems from a good, in my opinion, by the way, partnership with Anthropic and Mozilla, where they partnered together and Anthropic's model found 500 zero-day vulnerabilities, of which 22 were found in Firefox, and 14 of those 22 were high severity. To kind of visualize what we're talking about here, these are all of the vulnerabilities found in Firefox over time, and vulnerabilities exist in any code base to include web browsers, right? They have to render arbitrary user data, very hard problem to solve. And just this month so far, or I guess last month in February, of all the vulnerabilities that were found here, this bar, 22 of them were found by Opus 4.6. Again, this is the model by Anthropic. This is not like some special tool. This is just point the model at the source code, go find vulnerabilities. Now, finding vulnerabilities is one thing, but where it gets really hairy is the ability for the model to write an exploit. Before we go into this, I want to highlight a comment that someone made on Reddit and go into the kind of the edge case of where, while they may have found 500 zero days, finding a vulnerability is much different than actually finding an exploitable vulnerability, and then writing an exploit is a very different problem, okay? The reason for this post is someone said Opus 4.6 found 500 exploitable zero days, and then someone asked, like, what is the reality of this? Is this real, or did they pull numbers out of their ass? And then some commenter very aptly put, "Oh God, we found a stir copy, shut it down, evacuate everybody, even if the length is checked directly before it's equivalent to a stir n copy." I want to highlight this comment because...
Isn't this funny? Because this is like the exact slop vuln that we just read about in curl. If you guys were in here for that, we were just talking about curl AI slop bug bounties, and this is exactly what they were talking about.
I noticed in the report that Anthropic's red team wrote about OpenSC, which is the open smart card software, the software that's meant to, you plug in your smart card to do like PIV authentication. And this is a software that's meant to parse out the data on the smart card, maybe extract your public key and do that kind of exchange, right? And so Claude used their models to do vulnerability research on OpenSC. And they claimed that they found a vulnerability. Claude quickly identified a location where multiple stircat operations were used in succession, which, if you take that at face value, is an unsafe C function because a stircat operation does not check the length of the value being concatenated. So for example, this buffer here is path max. It's 4096 bytes, right? It's a buffer that is statically in size. And then this FP value, wow, this FP value gets concatenated to your file name. Guys, that's a string-based buffer overflow. That's a stack-based buffer overflow in software that comes from the smart card. You could use that to exploit the computer by plugging in a smart card. That's not good. Well, hold on. If you actually go to the code and read it, if you look at this piece of code here, you're in the function, if the strlen of FP is not 64, because by the way, it's just a ASCII hex encoded SHA-256, so 256 times 2 for hex divided by 8 is 64. If you think about it, this is a hard-coded value, so therefore, there is no vulnerability here. You take the size of the file name minus the strlen of FP, which by the way is always 64, minus 2 for the null terminator, and for the slash here, there's no vulnerability, okay? So I want to highlight, this is scary, the fact this can happen, but there is also this problem we're seeing where a lot of these bugs aren't really bugs, and they did, I guess, force the OpenSC maintainers to make it to stir LCAT, where you use the max length, but that's not super important. Now again, while all of that is annoying, I do want to highlight, they did find a vulnerability in Firefox, and they used the AI to...
Wait a second. So we talked about this. So Firefox is out here being like, yo, Claude's finding vulns. And low level's out here saying some of these were a technicality.
Write an exploit for Firefox. I want to kind of go into what's going on here. And it's been a while, but today's video is sponsored by me. Guys, I know we are in an era where learning to code is kind of going out of style. Maybe it's bad to know how to code in these days, but I highly believe that if you're going to either be an AI practitioner, you're going to use AI to code, it seriously helps understand how computers work at a fundamental level. And in my opinion, the best way to do that, to know what computers are actually doing and how code can break, is by learning a language like C. On my platform level academy, we have a C course called Zero to Hero C Programming that I've actually recently gone through and refunded a lot of the modules. We also made an entirely new project where you build a key value store, kind of like a dictionary in Python, and do our automated testing service to test your code and get your certificate. Guys, you can't be a good programmer programmer, even with AI, if you don't know how computers work. And where do you learn how computers work? Guys, on the Level Academy. We'll see you in there. Thanks, guys. Now, when we say Claude exploited this bug, you really do mean we just gave Claude a virtual machine and a task verifier and asked it to create an exploit. They gave it 350 chances to succeed, and ultimately, I think only spent like $4,000 in tokens. Okay, so from the perspective of like a professional security engineer, exploit developer, those kinds of people get paid like $200,000 over the course of a year, and they did all of this at the rate of 350 tries at $4,000 total. Extremely cheap from a pure engineering standpoint. Now, the bug that I did find is like fairly complex. It has to do with a vulnerability in the binding process of WebAssembly. There's a lot of words there. Basically, and again, the thing is, I still fully don't understand this bug because it is a very complex statefulness issue between WebAssembly itself and the bindings in JavaScript and an optimization between those bindings. As far as I understand it, this is WebAssembly, right? WebAssembly is a binary, low-level assembly-like language for the virtual machine that runs WebAssembly in your browser. It's used for like optimizing like very, we're going to code to be kind of higher speed than JavaScript, but not use JavaScript. So this is a WebAssembly module that exposes two modules. It exposes a function that calls a function, and then you expose a function that is a simple identity function. So get the first parameter of that argument. So then what you can do basically is apparently there's a use after free in the way that the bindings between WebAssembly and JavaScript work, and it has to do with all these very complicated functions. The thing is, from a pure static analysis perspective, which is a lot of what I do at work, I read a lot of code, this would be very hard to find. And also, because it's a weird binding process between WebAssembly and JavaScript, it's also very hard to fuzz this, fuzzing being the act of injecting malicious code or malformed code into a process, because WebAssembly itself is a grammar-based language, so fuzzing grammar-based anything is difficult. And on top of that, you're fuzzing not only the grammar-basedness of WebAssembly, but you're also fuzzing the bindings between the WebAssembly and JavaScript. So you have two separate grammars and then a statefulness issue in between them. To find a use after free, all of those things are the hardest things to find in the security world because it's such a hard thing to think about. What LLMs are really good at, I know there's like the context problem, there's like they can't retain a lot of information for a long time, but if you give them a small enough scope of code, they can logically reason about that code and understand the potential states very, very well. And the reason I say that is if you go into the rest of this process, I'm not going to read this, I just want to show it to you guys. The way that the LLM figures out how to turn this use after free primitive into an arbitrary read-write is extremely impressive. When you're doing exploit development, you have to create these things called primitives, right? You want to create basically a function that does something, right? Either it gets you a leak so you can break ASLR, which is the randomization of address space locations so that hackers can't put things anywhere, right? For example, when you run a program that's compiled correctly with position independence, it puts the program, your kernel, into a random location. So if you do get an arbitrary write, you don't know where to write. So the AI knew, okay, first of all, I need to create an address of primitive to use this use after free and leak out data about the info or the address of it. And then once I get that info leak, I need to make a fake object primitive, the ability to forge a JavaScript object reference at an arbitrary address to enable an arbitrary read write. And then from there, it goes through the whole process of walking through how to do exploit development pretty much on its own. Again, they said it took like 350 tries on this, but they kind of left it fairly unsupervised. And eventually it does get to the place where it's able to forge objects with controlled values, right? With controlled addresses, and ultimately turn this into a read 64 primitive and a write 64 primitive, okay? We are at a place where Opus 4.6 is a pretty good, pretty cheap exploit developer. Now, I do want to highlight, right? They were not able to break out of the browser sandbox, right? The problem with JavaScript or any kind of browser exploit is even though you get arbitrary read, write, or code execution in the browser.
That's all, like, we all realize how crazy all that is, right? Sorry, I wasn't like interjecting a whole lot. Like he was going deep through like how this like exploit chain was developed and everything. We realize how nuts it is that we all have access to a model that can do what we just showed, right? That's insane.
You then have to break out of the browser sandbox that forbids you from being able to touch other processes and files on the computer, right? That's a separate exploit. While this bug itself does not break out of the sandbox, it is kind of scary that we got the exploit to work at all. And to show like the severity of this with like real data, I want to highlight this project Cybergym. It's by a bunch of researchers at UC Berkeley. Really, really cool project. Shout out to them. Basically, Cybergym is a repository of 188 projects and 1,500, I believe, instances of those projects that have pre-known vulnerabilities, right? So known to the researchers, but not known to the models. And so effectively, they benchmark the AI against reproducing the vulnerability and then doing open-ended vulnerability discovery in those code bases to find issues that are pre-known, right? So very like good way of saying, oh, is the AI actually good at VR? Can it find relatable bugs or bugs that actually matter? Okay. And I want to just highlight kind of the velocity we're seeing in the success rate of these models. So going back to just Codex GPT-4.1, which again was only in May of last year, coming up on a year, had a 7.4 success rate.
Yeah, I mean, we are like the skill level jump in 4.6 alone is insane.
Now, success rate, I believe, is functioned as the percent of target vulnerabilities reproduced, percentage of instances where the agent successfully produces a target vulnerabilities by generating a working POC, okay? So if we go from Codex on 4.1 being 7.4, not even a year later, we have Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6 on one trial is up to 66.6% success rate. It's a lot of S's to say. That being said, this is not meant to fearmonger. This is more, or to make people afraid. This is more just to highlight that this is going to be the place where a lot of VR is done. It is going to be the norm that security researchers are doing security research alongside an agent that may be working at the same speed, if not faster, than the researcher themselves. So exploits is one thing, right? But once you do an exploit, you have to like...
I mean, it's literally a whole new world, right? Like you guys just saw the jump. I mean, a lot of those benchmarks are, you know, whatever, but You saw the jump, right? In skill. A whole new world. Yes. Either a fellow 90s kid or a fellow dad or both.
Put something there, some kind of malware to either stick around, to persist, or to do your evil bidding, to collect all of your data you want to steal. Okay. APT36, I think this is a Russian APT. I forget which country this comes from, but they have been caught using Vibeware, which is effectively AI-generated or vibe-coded malware. And this is really scary for a variety of reasons. The main one is if an APT can just produce 100 times more malware, being able to just say, hey, Claude, can you make that again, but change the way you did your process injection? Or can you change the way that you hid your ASCII strings? Can you change the algorithm we did that? Can you write a new algorithm for me? And also, by the way, they're using a variety of languages: Go, Rust, Nim, Zig, Crystal. I've never even heard of Crystal, right? The ability to just arbitrarily change this under the hood and produce new malware basically for free creates a very difficult problem for defenders. They came up with a term for this. Obviously, this is very CompTIA of the industry. Distributed denial of detection, DDoD. Don't do that. Just say what it is. It's vibe-coded malware. Okay. We are in the transition to a very weird world. Okay. So what does that mean for you as a human being trying to just live here? I would say a few things. One, defense in depth, super important. Make sure you're always using multi-factor authentication. Make sure you all.
Deathhawk, really good point, right? It's a fuzzer, needs human verification. Dumping that on bug bounty programs, 100%. For someone in an unskilled position, just like pointing at AI at things and being like, hack this and tell me what you find and whatever, right? But I know some of the best bug hunters on the planet I know are currently getting paid out on crits that their Claude agents that they developed are running overnight while they sleep. Right? Like, let's find it. I've got a few examples. Got a few examples I could show you. Let's see. Here. So Rezo is a really good bug hunter. That's what he does for a living. Google, accepted. Nice catch. Hey dude, I've been following you. I read your article about AI agents, saw your post on X, immediately started using Claude. The next day I received my first bounty using an agent. Your tweet a couple weeks ago got me to press into agents. It's been incredible. I gave mine a lead that I had been stuck on for months and had found SSRF within minutes. Today was one of the most productive days. He's just accelerating. Another one. Took your advice, built hacking companion in Kaido, found and submitted a bug within an hour. He's talking about the Firefox thing we talked about. He wrote a guest post on Kaido. Kaido is like a burp alternative, right? I've never used it. This is his Kaido skill. That's cool that he wrote a skill. What is it? Where's the skill MD? Yeah, there we go. So Kaido SDK integration for Claude Code. So you're basically giving Claude Code like burp, replay HTTP requests, edit, just turn Claude Code into a web hacker with this tool. That's like a powerful web hacking tool, right? What up, Sean, if you're here? Thank you. Welcome. You wish you had much cash to burn on Claudebots? Yeah. For sure. You expect they're doing the final reports? Probably, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, they're not like sticking their agent and then having it just send the report out for them, for sure. Yeah, Corbin is another one. He found a full RCE chain with Claude. A good friend of mine. Not sure why I waited so long. I gave it all of my HackerOne reports, turned different patterns into skills, taught it some of my methodology, and it found a crit. This is Joseph himself finding 2 in Google S0s, S1, a crit and a high. Both of these were found overnight by Claude Code. I mean, a whole new world for sure, right? You know, Kaido, you've used it. Cool. Solid researchers turning themselves into superhuman bug pounders with AI. That's the benefit. You would love these reports for sure. For sure. That was me. I was always trying to get some of these best researchers to like focus on Reddit when I was running the Reddit bug bounty program. It's hard to get the best researchers attention, right? To like focus on this stuff. Hey, a few of you have joined the channel as like members. Reich Dallas, if you're still here, looks like you just joined today. I don't know why that didn't pop up. Tyler O, you joined maybe last week. I don't have, I only have 5. 5 people have joined my YouTube channel. That's like not a viable thing. I think it's more of a cultural thing on Twitch, right? To like sub and gift subs. It's like definitely more of a Twitch thing than a YouTube thing. Have you tried Mammoth? What's Mammoth? All right, so guys, since I queued up that low-level video and went and got some food, I've been running some AI prompts in the background. A bunch of them are still running. About a bunch of them are still running about what I need to kind of do. Wow, look at this, man. Oh, I can't show this. This isn't in my browser. I wish I could show this. Basically, Claude has put together a bunch of tiers of skills needed, like a road to the $2 million bounty. So tier 1, web app vulns, my home turf, because it knows about me. Tier 2, browser WebKit code execution. This is like use after free type confusion. This is like $10,000 in Apple, $250,000 in Chrome. Then the sandbox escape is where things start to go crazy, right? Apple 300K, Chrome 250K. Then tier 4 is kernel control privilege escalation. This is memory corruption, use after free race conditions. Now you're talking like 500K for Apple, 605K is the record for Google there. And tier 5 is the full chain from browser all the way through to kernel, which includes each one of those steps. With a click is $1 million, and then 0 click would be the big shebang. So that's tier 6. Network to kernel with no user interaction. If you include a lockdown mode bypass in Apple, it's 100% bonus. So that's why you can go from 2 million up to 5 million if it also bypasses lockdown mode. What would you say to someone who's trying to career switch with all this AI stuff? I would say make sure you know how to use all this AI stuff. 16 people here, so that's rocking an incredible 30%. That's not so numbers. Imagine I had 30% members from my subscribers. Hell, if I had 1%, right, I would be making a pretty good paycheck. Or 3%. If I had 3%, yeah, it's not a real thing. Mohammed, today can be a career. We could do some career chat stuff. I don't usually do career chat stuff. I'm happy to do some career chat stuff. Why are you telling me I'm wasting time and that I got to read your fucking blog? Man. What is it? Fine, we'll pull it up. You've pestered me into compliance. There's 2 perplexity stuff. What is it? We've talked about this kind of stuff before. This isn't super real. I checked your perplexity stuff out. I mean, you're just calling prompt injection and saved chats a risk. We get it. We get it. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. You just keep spamming your blog link. What's the attack plan for lockdown access? What normally allowed the holes that are there? That's a great question. What's the lockdown mode? So these are the different things that lockdown mode is going to like start to screw with. A lot of them happen in like the 0-click tier of things, which is generally like iMessage stuff, right? Totally, Robertson. Totally. Yeah, it's click fix. It's chat fix. It's not click fix. It's chat fix. Mammoth is a perplexity spinoff. I didn't know that. So lockdown mode is going to like remove a whole bunch of the attack surface, basically, right? So a lot of fonts, file types, anything that makes iMessage, like a lot of the interactive things are just removed. Web browsing, same thing. Like tons of like images, fonts, JavaScript stuff are completely blocked. Basically, you can read this list, and it's like if this is on this list, there was a 0-day that spyware used at some point that abused one of these things. So FaceTime, like there, I remember this. There was a 0-day that you could just get an incoming FaceTime call. You didn't even have to answer it, and they would just own your device. So they would block FaceTime calls from unknown phone numbers. Incoming invitations for Apple services, Game Center. There's all sorts of, this is just attack surface, right? It's just different libraries that people found vulnerabilities in. Wi-Fi, different things, configs, whatever. So I always I bring it up in chat a few times, a few times a month to you guys about lockdown mode. And I always challenge you all to give it a shot. I don't think anyone's reported back and been like, hey man, I turned that on. It sucks. Because it does. It turns your phone into like something you do not recognize. It doesn't behave like an iPhone anymore. Yeah, you remember that FaceTime one? It was gnarly. What were we looking at before this? Oh, the Kaido skill. It's a pretty good one. Wow, some of my prompts are still running about this. Whoa. This stuff is crazy. Yeah, Claude is insane. Yeah, we talked about that N1 a bunch earlier. Sorry, I'm just reading, like, my agents are going nuts. What's up, San Alt Delete? Had my phone in lockdown mode for a while. Unfortunately, PIP didn't work in that mode. Also, some websites completely failed. Not useful day to day. Completely agree. This is why I always challenge people to try it. It's like, it's awesome, but it's just like, it basically bricks your phone. Like, you can't, like, you're not participating in the modern mobile device ecosystem with lockdown mode. But if you're like a politician or a journalist or anything like that, you know, it's worth it. At least to have maybe two devices, you know, kind of a brain rot device to like participate in the modern world, and then like a actual text message and communication device for stuff. Yeah. Well, that's why they pay another $1 million. They give a 100% bonus. So an extra $2 million if you bypass lockdown mode, because it's so much harder. It's not secure until it no longer functions. Totally. You're deciding to not waste your time on certs, build real world projects with blog posts, GitHub. How do I utilize LinkedIn? I feel like it's a different space to talk to people. Yeah, so there's a guy in chat that hangs out on Twitch, Cyber Ties, if you see him in chat. His name's Roman. He used to hang out in my TikTok lives. And he's doing it the same way I did it when I was younger, right? So I think he might be going for some certs and stuff too. But I'm pretty anti-cert unless like you're starting from ground, you know, from absolute zero. I'm more kind of what you're talking about. It's just like my advice can be summed up, Mohammed, into my spiel is learn as much as possible about cybersecurity, that like if that's what you want to do. Pick a niche of that you find most interesting in the cybersecurity umbrella, right? Learn as much about that niche as possible. Just get obsessed with it. Go really deep on it. Learn publicly. So whether it's have a GitHub profile, have a LinkedIn profile, probably have a Twitter profile, you know, do videos if you're comfortable doing videos. If you're not, it's not a big deal. But whatever you're learning, learn publicly. Just be like, hey, I learned this thing today. Even if you think that the whole world already knows this and you're the first to learn it, I guarantee you're not. Right? And so then you learn publicly and then meet as many people as possible, like in real life as possible in the industry. So get to conferences, get to whatever, and talk to them about what you're learning. Talk to them about what you're trying to do. You're one person, you're one like person away from like your dream job, right? So how to use LinkedIn? Easy, just like a human, right? Don't promote yourself or anything. Just be like, oh, I read this today, or oh, I was working on this project today and it didn't work, whatever, you know, like all that kind of stuff. So, whoa, guys, my prompts are still running. This is crazy. I don't even know what it's doing back there? I haven't been watching. LinkedIn is surprisingly highly used in the industry. It's kind of wild. If you become like a top LinkedIn account, you know, or just not even a top, but just like an actively followed LinkedIn account in the industry, it'll suit you well. It'll suit you well. What was I chatting about? There was that Kaido thing. All right, so let's see. Install Trail of Bits skills. That's funny. So, let's see. Claude has spit out a road to the $2 million bounty plan for me. Claude Code agents. All right. Dude, this is nuts. All right, let me copy this whole thing into a doc that I can share on screen because I'm not in a little life hack for you. Do you know if you just type docs.new into your browser, it'll open a new Google Doc? Isn't that kind of crazy? All right, guys, you want to do? Yeah, show your work and study real time. Exactly what I'm talking about, Jay, right? Just like anything you're working on, just do it publicly. The example I give, a lot of people, I used to go on TikTok live a lot and I stopped because this was like all anyone would talk about because I think TikTok skews way younger. So you got people that were just trying to get their first job or something like that in cyber. And no hate, Mohammed, it's cool. We're chatting about it. It's fine. But it was just every TikTok live the whole time. So like if I was on live for 2 hours, people would be joining in hour 2 asking the same question that I already answered 17 times while live, right? It's just like it's a very fast, like people come in and come out as they're scrolling into a TikTok live. It's a really weird, different vibe, right? And so I just like got very repetitive at like answering they would just be like, what certifications do I need to get a job in cyber? And it's just like, oh my God, I hate them, right? So the example I pointed to, there was a TikTok account of like a young guy trying to get into cyber. He was studying for Security Plus. It's like one of the more common basic ones that people talk about. And he made a video every day. This was his series. It was like daily video until I passed the Security Plus. And it was just like a time lapse of him studying. And then he would go live stream and like take practice tests. And he would make a video about a certain concept that he learned that day while studying for the Security Plus. And then this was like all of his content was like, I'm going to go get the Security Plus. I point to that and say, it is much more valuable for him to have a profile that he can point to of him learning all of that stuff and walking everyone through it. That's way more valuable than the actual test will be when he passes it. Right? If I'm hiring a junior for a junior role, right? Or at least just like a lower on the totem pole role, early career role on my team, and you attached your GitHub profile full of projects and a video series on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever of you learning everything, I'm much more likely to be interested in you because you now have not only demonstrated that you actually learned all that stuff instead of just like happened to pass a test. But you also have the aptitude to be able to explain all the stuff that you're learning, which is a really important skill too, right? It's just like reading comprehension. It's like being able to articulate this stuff. Much more interested in you than another resume with the same certification on their profile. All right, guys. Let's see. This is what Claude spit out. This is just raw Claude. None of my special agents. My special agents are still running. Ooh, they just finished. Hold on. Okay. What's up, Damien? Thanks for the subscription. Getting Security Plus is probably worth it. It's cheap. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not like worth it. I'm just saying the guy that made the series of videos or blogs or whatever talking about what they were learning while studying for it, even if you just do it on LinkedIn and just be like, studying for my Security Plus, day 10, like, here's what I learned today. And then at the end, like, yeah, you go past the test. It's cool. But your LinkedIn profile talking about everything you learned every day until then is going to stand out way more, right? All right, I also have an MD file here. Hold on, I've got two docs to show you guys. I've got the one that's on screen, and then my special super secret agent. Also spit out some stuff. What? Why? Hold on. Where is this? Sorry, guys. What is the show hidden? Yeah, there it is. I always forget the key to show hidden folders. So what do I have? Claude, memory, work, let's view as a list, date modified today, research deliverable, no, open with, cursor is fine. All right, here's the other thing. We're doing a lot live today. You guys are, it's a kind of a different stream. We're not just reading news. No, hello. Paste from Markdown. All right, here's the other bit. What are some of your favorite security conferences to attend? What are some with lower fees for people on a budget? Yeah, DEF CON's probably the top one for anyone of any stage. And then B-sides and like local OWASP chapters and stuff are always really good for me. The Twitch handle is Reshi Coat. Let me show you. My link tree is the best for all my socials. I don't have any cool bots like that to help you out. There's Twitch. All right. So let's read through. This is stuff that my AI agents have put out. So I explain. You guys heard me kind of explain the prompt, right? Of like, okay, we want to do a YouTube series, The Road to the $2 million Bug Bounty, which has yet to ever be paid out, right? So this was my other theory is A, this is hard to find. B, there's like a lot of stipulations to achieving it. So like, you know, who knows if anyone is, if it's ever meant to be paid out or if it's like marketing, right? These have never been claimed publicly. The highest actual traditional tech bounty payout ever is $605K from Google in 2022. Crypto bounties have paid $10 million. Wormhole, Aurora, Polygon, using vulnerability classes that web hunters already understand. The optimal strategy leverages existing web expertise toward crypto and DeFi targets. Interesting. J.O., welcome. Thanks for following. You think this is a rug pull? Yeah. They've never been paid out, right? So I think, so this is still going to be an interesting like road to go down, right? Average payout, 40K. 20 individual rewards, over 100K, multiple at 500K. J.O. Cooper and Jay Harris, you know each other. I can't call you both Jay, and I'm Matt J. Some people call me Jay. Do we all need a Spider-Man meme it? Spider-Man meme? Yeah, I thought so. There can only be room for one of us. Meet me at the town square at high noon. Well, cool. Welcome, J.O. The 3 J's here. J was what people, there was always another Matt, right? That's why I'm Matt J on everything. So when I used to play sports, they would like just drop the Matt, right? There's like 4 Matts on the team. So I was just J. That's why he's J.O. I'm Matt J for this very reason. There's always another Matt. We had a Slack channel of Matts when I worked at Reddit. I think there was like 35 of us. And there was a Slack channel for Daves because there's a lot of Daves too. And the Daves used to raid the Matt Slack channel and spam GIFs into our Slack channel. Pretty funny. Yeah. All right. What should I title? I think if I do this as a YouTube series, I think it'd be fun to put it as a goal. So what if I said like paying off my house, paying off my mortgage with AI bug bounties, day 1. That'd be kind of crazy, right? Galaxy, yeah, we're click fixing. A chain of 5 Android bugs in a single bounty was 605. That's what I'm saying. These big ones. So wait. There was a single $10 million bounty paid in 2022 for a smart contract bug. I didn't know that. That's insane. The 1 to 2 million are theoretical maximums, not observable payouts. Yeah, I kind of agree. So I think my agent kind of took the whole like $2 million road to the $2 million bounty as like I wanted to make $2 million when no, I wanted to go after that currently unobtained $2 million bounty on Apple. Oh, J.O. actually works. Ooh, fighting words. The bot needs a fun name. Huh. How about Freddie Mac? Because I'm going to make my mortgage go to 0. Like Freddie Mac. Or Lehman. No, Freddie Mac. That's not what I meant. Lehman Brothers. I was thinking of Lehman. I was trying to think of someone from the '08 housing crisis who could make my mortgage go to zero. All right, the reality check, honest numbers for the series. Income distribution, HackerOne, 6 million registered users in HackerOne. The 0.001% have actually earned 500K plus. Only 8 people ever have crossed 1 million lifetime. Only 146 ever did 100K lifetime. Yeah, so this is like, I don't... Oh, they're trying to say I'm going to make money on YouTube from this. That's dumb. That's not what I'm talking about. The exploit chain, initial access, web skills, sandbox escape, kernel persistence. See, I didn't want to like turn this into, we're going to like bug hunt just like at scale on YouTube. I meant I want to go get that one. It's like, yo, you got to go read all these books and take all these trainings before we start. Documentary journey hybrid. You're the protagonist. 60% story struggle, 25% skill methodology, 15% community industry. Now it goes into the YouTube stuff. This AI agent cooked. Can you believe this, guys? Claude wrote all this while we were chatting. Only 8 people have ever done this. No, nobody has ever done it. You misunderstood. I don't want to make $2 million as a bug hunter, like period, as a career. I would like to go after one of these mega payouts because I think that would be fun. Because it's so unlikely to actually happen, right? So if it does, it's like absolutely wild. Sam Curry is a huge bug hunter. Isn't Nahamsek, doesn't he have 1 million? Jason Haddix and Nahamsek. Homies. Homies. Those are friends of mine. Ethical and legal framework. Tax implications. Guys, this agent kind of went crazy. All right, what's the other doc say? Skills and agent roadmap. You are here. You can do web hacking. Yes, I can. I believe in myself, even though I haven't done it in a while. Tier 2, browser WebKit code execution. What earns money here? Claude code agents to build. Sandbox escape. Skills to develop. Claude agents to develop. Teams of 10 plus researchers working for months to years get into the NSO group Pegasus territory, right? So this is like underdog story. Unlikely to ever work as an individual YouTuber. What agents struggle with: novel logic vulnerabilities, business logic flaws, multi-step exploit chains, kernel exploitation. Yeah, I know. All right. So, guys, we are setting out upon a mission with a low likelihood of success. So I'm giving my agent some feedback. I'm saying, you misunderstood, but maybe in an interesting way. I wasn't looking to try to cross 2 million total as a now career bug bounty hunter. I wanted to set off on the mission of using AI agents to find some of those mega never before claimed bounties in Apple and Google. But your crypto points are interesting. Less focusing on the YouTube series. Let's first focus on the skills we need to curate 1 or 0 click iOS bugs. I had another agent work on some stuff. Here is what it said. Our adventure has a goal. Yeah, I know. YouTube series is the real gold for sure. But like, this would be a giant distraction if all of a sudden I turned into like a bug bounty hunter, right? Like, oh, I'm just gonna do bug bounty now. I haven't like done full focused bug bounty research in a long time. I'm just kind of interested in, I brought up Rezo and he's like I have AI agents that run overnight for me all the time. So what skills and stuff do I need to go and create to like run AI agents that like, as a somewhat skilled security person, I'm obviously missing huge knowledge gaps between what I am good at currently versus like kernel level sandbox escapes, use after free exploit. Like I haven't written a buffer overflow in like 15 years, right? Would have to be a slide into like a good mini series. Yeah. Is it raining in the USA? USA is a big place. I'm sure it's raining somewhere. It's not raining here. You love Rust, your favorite language? I've never written Rust. Never written Rust. I've written a lot of Golang. Never written Rust. This is going to be a good mini series, though. You're right. If I pull this off. All right. So I gave that to my agent. It's going off. It's taking a big swing. It's saying building skills to find 0 and 1 click iOS and Android bugs. Explicit wants. Build AI agent skills that can actually find 0 click iOS and vulnerability. Yeah. Not about becoming a career bug bounty hunter, doing volumes of web bugs. Not primarily about the YouTube series right now. Focus on the actual skills first. Interested in using AI agents to attempt the impossible bounties, which nobody has claimed. I agree. Okay. Obvious don't wants. Don't redo the tier breakdown. The other agent already did good work there. Don't be theoretical. All right. Ooh, it just made a big plan. It just made a big plan. It's about to compact though. I'm about to lose context window. Really, what's my opinion of Golang? Golang's awesome. It's a steeper learning curve than a lot of the other languages, right? Especially if you've never written, that close to the metal before. But it's great. Super performant. Super performant. It does a lot of the memory stuff magically for you, which is awesome. You ever written C or C++, and you got to do a lot of your own like memory management and pointers and all that shit. You have like a lot of the performance that those has without a lot of the like manual overhead of memory management, trash collection, all that kind of stuff that you would have had to do in C and C++. I haven't written C or C++ since university, so Just FYI there. But yeah. Golang is pretty awesome at that. How about I do the opposite too? So I just gave the one document to my one agent. How about I give the other one to the other agent? All right. I'm doing kind of an interesting thing here, guys. Like, sorry, I'm not in my web browser, so it's hard to show you guys. But I'm like talking to two different AI agents right now, and I'm kind of giving them each other's feedback, right? So we'll see what comes out. I'll show you guys what's going on when it's spitting stuff out. How would I leverage Golang? Oh, I wouldn't. Someone was just talking about Rust in chat, and I was just saying I've never written Rust. I've just written Golang, which are usually in the same language because they're like the modern memory safe, but like close to the metal languages. So I was just comparing the two. Someone in Galaxy was saying that they like Rust. Low level, like Rust enough to compare to the issue of the day. Yeah. I've written tons of Python and Java for sure. For sure. JavaScript is probably my most written language of various types. Node, TypeScript, Next.js, a bunch of the, Angular, React frameworks. Then probably Python. Then going back to university, a lot of Java, C, C++. And then, yeah, the only code that I ever like wrote that like ended up on a production website that it was like doing some security helper functions on prod at one of my companies was Golang. It was like a Golang microservice that did some random stuff. I hate Ruby on Rails. Hate Ruby. I've written enough code. I feel like I can read most code. I can't even read Ruby. Oh my God. What? I set off some confetti in here for a video. I'm going to go with 4 months ago. What the fuck? I just like, did you guys see this? Like just fall into screen? I guess this was like stuck to the ceiling. What's up, Brendan? Thanks for subscribing. I gotta like send that to, I did a video for Palo Alto and they like, or we were doing like a live stream and they sent us like confetti, like those popper things to go nuts. So let's see. All right. All right, one agent is kind of much faster than another. It's interesting. So I'm going to let this other one finish because now they're both trying to build skills. I don't want them to run into each other building skills. We're going to see, guys. This is going to be fun. Do you guys think that that impossible goal is fun, or should I put like a more realistic goal kind of halfway through, right? Just like in general, how could a retired hacker, I don't hack anymore at all. How can an old guy hacker spin up AI agents to spit out some bug bounties? How much could I possibly make? Do companies still use Ruby? Unfortunately. Unfortunately, everybody. Nah, go for the big one. Yeah. I think that's the goal, right? Go for the big one, shoot for the moon, see where it gets. You guys can all do this along with me, right? You all have, if you have Claude, you can do exactly what I'm doing right now. I did nothing but explain. You guys heard my prompts. So if this is in any way successful and I get any money, you guys could have done it along with me. So hacking Apple before Iran does. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. You know what's interesting that I haven't hit yet? So I thought I was going to have to do some interesting prompt manipulation to get Claude to go along with my premise to generate like 0-click, 0 days in modern operating systems, because obviously if the bad guys do this, it's a bad deal, right? Ooh, that would suck. Do you think Claude's going to like ban me if they find me doing this? What's up, Ahmed? If you're in here, thanks for subscribing. Add speed up turned out to be malware. I've done a bunch of videos recently about extensions that turned out to be malware. All right, so it's launching parallel agents to build all 9 workflows and 3 context files simultaneously. Patch diff, attack surface, source audit workflows. Bounty hunt. It's building a skill called Bounty Hunter. AI augmented bug bounty hunting for Apple and Google 0-click exploit chains. Used when bounty hunting. Patch diff, source audit, crash triage, fuzzer harness, IPC audits, IO kit, attack surface, exploit chain, bounty report, 0-click, kernel bug, browser bug, sandbox escape. Guys, you only use Claude at work. How much are you spending on it roughly? Dollars? I have the $200 a month plan. It's like the max plan. So, you know, I hit my limits. If I hit my limits, it means I was like productive that week. But I haven't like hit my limits to the point that I'm like worried about it. 17 a month for the year. Yeah, I'm on Claude Max, so it's 200 a month. But it's all like R&D for my business. So I put it on the business card for myself. Because I'm like coding a bunch of stuff that I'm actually trying to release through Vulnu this year. Like I've got a mobile app that I've made that I'm going to try to put out. What up, Portbuster? How hard is it to make AI a malicious browser extension? No, I mean, it's super easy. That's the problem, right? Browser extensions are not hard to make. That's why they keep popping up. The problem is there's code review, right? And then there's like, this is why a bunch of extensions, what's happening right now. If you guys didn't watch my most recent video, go watch it, leave a comment and be like, I heard you on live. You told me to leave a comment. Here I am. That helps like the algorithm and stuff for me. Then, why does this keep switching? I don't know why my YouTube keeps switching to a different account. There's a lot of legitimate Chrome extensions that get a bunch of users, get thousands of users doing the legitimate thing, like this skipping ads thing, right? And then there's like a few different ways. Uzman, thanks for subscribing. Welcome. There's a few ways that then once the legitimate extension wants to turn malicious, they can. Or if they don't want to. So the developer can just turn it malicious. B, they get hacked and it becomes malicious. C, a lot of times there's these people that go around just like kind of trying to be legitimate companies that will talk to developers of like unmonetized extensions and say, hey, include this code in your extension and I'll pay you for it. And those things are actually like residential proxies or anything like that. And then there's what I covered in the most recent YouTube video. You can sell an extension. So a lot of like legitimate extensions will try to just cash out, be like, I don't want to run this extension anymore. I've got, 100,000 users, put it up for sale so someone could buy it. And that's a completely unregulated market. And so people are buying extensions and then turning them malicious. And these things auto-update. Slop poly malware article? No, I don't think so. We talked about some slop bug bounty reports for a while, though, today. Good. Bounty Hunter is already appearing in the skill index. While workflow agents build in the background, I'll create the context files directly. Okay, cool. What about Trail of Bits? Let me pull that up. So Trail of Bits is a like top of line security consultant shop, and they just have like really bright researchers, and they've published their like skills marketplace basically. Yeah, so we should definitely use this too, right? We're going to run this in Claude code when it's done. But this stuff is awesome. Nothing interesting, but I thought naming was funny. It was vibe-coded polymorphic malware. Great. Writing a variable into the header for direct code execution is wild. Unsafe GitHub Actions video. Notebook LLM fan. No, I've not used Notebook LLM a whole lot. I think I tried it when it first came out. I wasn't super impressed. I think a lot of people do use it. I think a lot of the people that were using it early were like auto-generating podcasts that kind of just sucked. I was just like, all right. Like, what are we doing? All right. My agent is still going around building its own bounty hunter skill, but I kind of want to give it this one too. This Trail of Bits one. They also have a curated skills marketplace. I think this is less their security research ones and more just like these are ones that they deem good or safe. So instead of random plugins. So we have development, security, research, OpenAI, writing. Use and approve marketplace. The marketplace below have been reviewed. Yeah, this is super good. So we're going to do both of these when my agent is done yapping, writing all these bounty hunter skills. Now I need to generate the architecture diagrams using the art skills. What? Why are you doing that? It's kind of funny. I do not have a Discord, no. I've been toying with starting a community for a long time. I don't really have the bandwidth to like be a community manager, so I was trying to hire one. We're going a slightly different direction with it where we're going to try to do a community that's more targeted towards businesses buying seats. So instead of you guys paying like whatever, $10 to $50 a month to like get into some community with like education and stuff in it, we're going to try to charge businesses per seat and like have cohorts that like teach all the AI stuff in it and whatnot. And then that should, be able to fund a community manager, like fund full-time people to help run that community. And then at that point, I would probably start a free like version of it as kind of like a feed in. You didn't ask. You just asked if I had a Discord. No, currently no. Bionic Hunter Stack is what my agent just called itself. Bionic Hunter. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really want to make like yet another Discord of like, kids table low on the totem pole YouTuber. That like wouldn't be too active and I'd have to probably put a whole lot of like effort into making it worth joining. I didn't want to do that. So wander is the essence of location. Water is the essence of life. Merman, Dad. Merman. I've got the black lung pop. You come back from your flock camera scanning and you're still on? Yeah, I'm still on. I started a little late today, so I figured I'd stay a little late. My morning got screwed. I got to write the newsletter soon. Yeah, they've got in here. Is this the skill? Yeah. Where are their skills? Skills. I think they even have it in here. Boom. Yara authoring. Merman, Dad. Merman. The skill doesn't dump Yara syntax at you. Instead, it teaches decision trees, expert heuristics, and rationalizations to reject. That's pretty cool, right? What other skills are in here? Damn, Pi is awesome. I wish I don't really want to share non-browser stuff on stream just because there's too high of a likelihood of some random stuff I don't want on screen showing. But if you guys don't use Pi, let me show you Pi too. Hold on. So this is Pi, personal AI infrastructure. Oh, Matt Brown's got skills he publishes. Matt Brown's, I've met him a few times. He's good. He does some good stuff. Don't do what? So Pi by Meisler is pretty awesome. It like supercharges Claude code in the command line, and like brings so much context to the table and different like skills and all sorts of things. It's like captures every signal, learns from mistakes, gets better over time, upgrades itself with skills and workflows as you use it. And I'm like watching this happen right now as I talk to it about this bug hunting path I'm trying to go down. Oh, don't share the wrong screen. Yeah. Clark, you're probably not here. You probably are watching my short that's going a little viral right now. But thank you for subscribing. Let's see. Is it still going viral? Yep. Straight up line. We're getting about, I usually get a few hundred views on a short. I'm getting about 8,000 views an hour for the last 5 hours on that short right now. 64,000 views. That's got to be my most watched YouTube short. It's funny. It still feels like kind of small fries to me compared to my other platforms. I think like my average on Instagram is like 20 to 60,000. So it's like, oh, finally YouTube Shorts, you woke up. But yeah, hey, that's why it's going off. It's the Claude hacking without permission short is going off. Pi is a low-level context window. Yeah, so it kind of makes a whole file structure around Claude, and then it works on like a series of pre-prompt hooks and like context window things to create like a whole lot of memory files and things like that. So you get this like hook and skill system that it can then lean on. But then the hooks and the memory system tells it based on like what you're asking it, like, oh, go load up this skill right now. Right. So it's way, way better at context. Then Dan's been talking about this telos thing for a long time, where it's like kind of just programmatically and systematically putting a lot of stuff about yourself on paper, about like your beliefs, your personal goals, your mission, even like health stuff he puts in here, finance stuff he puts in here. And then it's like, this is kind of his more personal framework. He's now like married this idea with his Pi thing. So it can like bring a lot of stuff about yourself to when you're talking to your personal AI assistant. So then it's like, it starts with like a you thing and then kind of like builds up to like, what are you actually asking for here? And I can attest that like just doing a lot more context and stuff here is crazy. Well, using learning that while bug hunting is content for sure. Yeah. I should be recording some of this as content, like as I'm doing it right here with you guys, but I'll go back and kind of say what we did. All right, let's look at what what this did. We're going to copy this into a Google Doc. So this is the output of the agent just now. It was like, we built this bounty. Can you see this? Yeah. We built this bounty hunter skill. AI leverage guide, tool references, build order, and then a bunch of workflows. A patch diff for security patches. Attack surface. Map 0-day entry points. Source audit. Crash triage. Fuzzer harness. IPC audit. IO kit map. Write report. Chain plan. Future CLI tools. AI is a scoping triage engine, not a bug finder. That's not true. See, Claude often doesn't realize its own skills. It'll like say things in terms of like months, right? It's like, oh, AI can't do that, by the way. And the timeline on this is months. And I'll be like, no, do it. And then it'll do it right there in minutes. And it's like, see, like, so it's actually kind of hard when you're trying to plan when it doesn't know the things that it's capable of. So Pi has this red teamer, but not like security red teamer baked in, where it's like red team this idea. I have used Gemini, yeah, a ton. The stack covers recon through report writing, but there's a canyon between crash found and working exploit. Totally. What do you mean AI can't bridge it? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I believe in you. All right, hold on. We got to go make it believe in itself. All right. AI finds a 0-day. All right. Thank you. We have to now give we now have to give Claude a bunch of examples of AI finding 0 days so that it realizes that it can do this. Subscribers, none of which are hanging out with me in live. Welcome. Thank you. All right. How about Reso?
Apparently, somebody found a 0-day.
All right. Yeah, like this one's a good example. This is even before Opus 4.6. This was OpenAI's 03 model. But this is a skilled bug hunter that then used AI to find a 0-day, but they were like very, very targeting it, right? I actually should put that in here. Let's see. Sorry, I'm like trying to give it a bunch of stuff here. All right. All right. I think this is going to make good content, guys, right? It's going to be fun. Time is a human construct. AI is just token window size. I truly do believe that nowadays, that I used to scoff at that. A lot of people are like, I think the most important message is token bandwidth now, right? Amount of tokens and how your token throughput was like one of the more important metrics. I used to scoff at that, but I think it's actually getting significantly more accurate. All right, guys, 1 o'clock. I usually only go to 12. I'm probably gonna hop so I can write my newsletter before midnight. I used to stay up all night writing this newsletter on Thursday because I had a day job. But now this is my job. So thank you for being here and supporting me. Go subscribe for the newsletter if you haven't already. It's going to go out tomorrow morning. It's going to talk about a lot of stuff that we talked about this week on live, plus some other stuff that I didn't get to. And yeah, I will be live again Tuesday, right? Yeah. Next week I'll be live. The week after is RSA. So the week after is going to be no streams. Then I have 2 more streams before that, and then I'll be back after RSA. Claude uses 10K tokens to change the font. Yeah, for sure. Next Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but definitely Tuesday and Thursday next week. Was that Jo? You hear about this all the time. It was Jo. All right, guys. I'm going to go enjoy RSA. I don't really enjoy RSA. RSA happens to me. I just happen to be there putting 20,000 steps in a day, running around. So, all right. Cool. See you guys. Thanks for being here.